when you see and they say, well, he probably had a lot of videos and he's kind of used this against them to hold them accountable, and all the emails back and forth with Chase and how Chase was doing banking relationships. I don't know if you read that one where the Chase relationship with him with 2,000 email exchanges. I don't know what it was, where a federal judge on this class action lawsuit in which J.P. Morgan Chase had to pay $290 million to sexual abuse victims of Jeffrey Epstein, who claimed that the bank ignored warnings about the disgraced financier.
I'm sure that I'm not intelligent enough about this to speak about that. I've heard about that Chase was in trouble, and that was a shock to me. I had no idea why a bank would be called on the carpet. I don't know what was taking place, so I don't know what to tell you about that. This is all news to me. Like I said, I've heard that Chase, and wasn't there another bank that also had to pay out?
Oh yeah.
Was it? I don't want to mention a bank's name in case it's wrong. But I know Chase had to pay out. But I don't know why. I'm not interested in that stuff. I haven't been looking at any. Because the thing I was concerned about was the circumstances of his, what I'll call his murder at this point in time.
See, that's why I asked you a question at the opening, and I said, what's more important to you, the how or the why? You said the who, right?
Right.
And I think to me is, if you figure out the why, you'll figure out the who. Okay, not the other way around. It's not figure out the who, you'll figure out the why. I think how, check. Why, check. Who, check. I think that's the sequence, right? Mm-hmm. It's how, why, who. So the why is the stepping stone for you to get to the who.
Okay, well, part of the who and part of the why, the question becomes like, assuming that he was killed, okay, and it wasn't a suicide, then the question becomes, well, who would have the power or the ability to have this done in a federal prison? If he was walking down the street and a car drove by and he got shot in the head, that could have been anybody, but to be killed in a federal prison, in a maximum security federal prison, not any Joe on the street could pull something like that off. So it becomes who would have the ability to put that together?
Oh, you kidding me? Come on, man. Mark.
And who would have the ability to have the Justice Department report come out with so much bullshit in it?
Who do you think?
Well, I've already given you my opinion.
No, that guy doesn't have that much power because
the President of the United States?
You think the President has that much power? Are you seriously going to... Listen, Mark, I like your humor. I think you're being fair. I think I'm having a lot of fun talking to you. Politically, you've done stuff with Adam Schiff, with Maxine Waters.
I've never met Adam Schiff.
But you did something with them in the past. You were part of
This is kind of the bullshit that's been put out about.
It's an article. I can read it.
You can read the article. Yeah. That doesn't mean it's true. There's a lot of things.
Tell us about it. Tell us what...
No, I'm involved with an organization, and part of what we do is we run congressional delegations to different parts around the world. We take small groups of congressmen to different parts with, like, for instance, we took a small group of congressmen to Bahrain a number of years ago. Mm-hmm. They'll meet with the leadership of Bahrain, different ministers or presidents or whatever. They'll meet with the U.S. Embassy people on the ground. They'll meet with...
Associated. So you're associated with Adam Schiff, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Maxine Waters. This is you were listed on the board of directors for the Humpty Dumpty Institute, having nothing to do with hip hop, right?
Right.
Which works with the United Nations in attempt to rebuild developing countries. Reported that a tax filing from Institute where Epstein sits on the board of directors showing that you loaned the international charity at least $100,000 in 2014. The group lists Democratic Representative Maxine Waters, Adam Schiff of California, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida on the Congressional Advisory Board of the Institute. It was reported Epstein had a congressional delegation of Republican Democratic representatives to an event being held in Belgium in 2019. That's what I read.
Yeah, and we've taken them to different places.
Right.
Part of the thing is what people find interesting, is that our members of Congress, it's like 465, I think the number is, half of them don't have passports. They've never been anywhere, okay? Congress members are voted in for local issues.
Right.
Okay? But they vote on foreign policy issues, of which they really are not well informed.
Right.
Because they've never been anywhere. So
this was your way of...
Well, not mine. It's the organization. This is what we do. So we take them to places where they can learn about what's taking place. Also, when we go like to a place, we'll get them to meet with opposition leaders. So they get both sides of the story.
Got
This way, when they come back, they can maybe spread some information to Congress.
But it's fair to say you didn't campaign for Trump, you didn't campaign for Bush, you didn't campaign for McCain, you didn't campaign for Reagan, you didn't campaign and help those guys out, right?
I don't campaign for anybody.
Okay. But politically, you wouldn't consider yourself being a conservative.
I don't consider myself anything.
Okay.
Because politically, I look for the best idea. I don't care if it comes from the right or the left, because the right has good ideas, the left
Right.
has good ideas. I just look for the best idea.
Fair.
And I wish the government looked at it that way.
Fair. And then do you believe an establishment and an anti-establishment exists? Do you believe in that premise?
You'd have to define that. I don't give this kind of stuff very much thought. So you'd have to define what you mean by an anti-establishment.
Okay, so let me ask you
use.
a question this way. Do you belong to a country? I don't need the name. I'm just saying, have you ever belonged to a country club?
No.
Okay, me neither. Okay, I did for 1 week, literally. That's a fact.
Right.
Because I went to the country club, called my wife, said, babe, there's no way I'm going to do this. I'm out. But let's just say you and I go to a country club, okay? And we start hanging out. After this, conversation we have, you say, Pat, can we go to dinner together? Me and you. We go to Casa D'Angelo. We have a nice dinner. We break bread. And then we meet the owner of Casa D'Angelo and says, hey, there's this country club, a lot of good business people. You guys got to come to it. We go to it. We join the country club. And we've been at this country club for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And all of a sudden, we at this country club, someone comes to us and say, hey, we have voted for you to be the president of this country club after 4 years. And you become the president, I'm your vice president of this country club. That's been around for 100 years. Then there's a list of guys that have worked at this country club and had influential positions at this country club who have been there for 49 years, 43 years, 41 years, 38 years.
Okay.
I think you know where I'm going with this.
I do
I'm
not.
about to tell you where I'm
And
going
I'm
with this.
waiting.
Oh, I'm going to give it to you because that's a little bit of foreplay, and then there's the climax, right?
Oh, baby, go ahead.
So the point is, who has more influence? Us, that we've been there for 4 years. Who has more deeper secrets of darker information and mistakes and challenges and dead bodies of this country club? Me and you, who just became members and they announced us as president and vice president? Or some of these guys that have sat on the board and have been there for 38, 45, 49 years? Who do you think has more control over stories, over the dead bodies and horror stories that they have?
Well, probably the guys who've been there for a longer time, but I've never thought of that question before. It's not the world I come from. It's not
Right.
the world I'm in. I don't participate. I'm a member of the National Arts Club.
Okay.
That's the club I belong to.
I love it.
There's not a lot of politics involved in
But
it.
this is the point I was making to you.
Yeah.
You said earlier that, your speculation was that the reason why this is being hidden is because of Trump and Bill Barr. And my point is the fact that the guy had never been in politics, comes in, anti-establishment, gets elected. Then there's people that have been there for 30, 40 years who are part of the establishment. They know where everybody is buried. Trump has zero control over the establishment. They tell themselves, guys, just deal with this guy for 4 years and we'll get rid of him. Trust me, he's not going to be around. That's what I mean when I say a guy like that doesn't have a lot of power.
Well, when a new president comes in, right, they have what's called the secrets meeting, where before he takes office, he's sitting down and he's told this classified information he needs to know.
Right.
My question is always, who's telling him that information?
That's right. So then you're part of that. So
I'm not part of it. I thought about that.
No, Mark.
Don't include me.
We're putting you in that group. You are part of these. No, but the point is, when I say you're part of that, meaning your thought is who are the people that are briefing them. The other day I had this fellow on a podcast. We're talking about Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not.
No.
In 1951, this one senator, I think, wrote this bill. John Sparksman, I think is his name. And where they put these patents in there where they buy it from you because they think it's unsafe for the world. So let's just say you make a patent to create a car that can go 200 miles, a gallon of water, and you invented that. But it's going to put a $500 billion industry, oil business in America out, $5 trillion industry worldwide. Listen, give us the patent. Here's $20 million. Keep your mouth shut. You can't ever sell it to anybody else or else you're going to jail. They come up with this, right?
They used to buy up the patents for light bulbs that wouldn't burn out.
So
People
that's the
invented
same
light bulbs that
model.
wouldn't burn out, and they bought those patents because then
This destroys an industry.
Right.
So that's exactly it, right? So to me, that is an element of establishment, to protect the establishment so it doesn't disrupt, right?
Okay.
So I believe when you're saying who are the people that give that report to them, that's why I don't think Trump has much power as you think he does. I think it's the people that have been there for 30, 40, 50 years who have been consistent that have power over that. So let me go back to it. So when you say, do you really think these guys can pass the laws and all this other stuff? Leon Black and some of these other billionaires have the power with lobbying to buy a lot of laws. They can put the money to protect themselves from billions of losses.
Isn't that called lobbying?
That's exactly it. Yeah. So that's the part with the power that these guys have. So that's why I say, why would they pay $150-something million to your brother for that kind of money?
Has your mind blown up yet? Have you sat there and said, I cannot believe what Mark just said to me? Allegedly. This interview is a perfect interview to go sport the gear. Allegedly, if you haven't ordered your shirt yet, click here, the QR code, go to vtmerch.com. Place your order allegedly. It's one of the hottest items we have in our merch store. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.